Hello, guys, and welcome to a new episode of the Spit Talk podcast. My name is Louie.
Off a day, everyone. My name is Aaron.
I'm Kyle.
Hey, there we go, baby.
Yeah, I'm
He's
finally back. I'm finally back.
We're complete. We'll be trying to find like an outlet for everyone to come back, and I guess we found it with like doing a podcast. So,
Yeah, this is it's fun. Get to do this again.
oh yeah,
Even
dude,
though like we're all across
Like-
the world.
across the world. Yeah. Today, our topic is the young adult genre of films that is kind of dead now, I guess. We wanted to just talk about how like our favorite ones, its impact.
Do you like want to talk about like our era of young adult or like current?
I guess just
What do you
that, like,
mean?
cause like I guess I'm going off like the books, like that genre of books made into film. So I guess any era would count.
Dang, we can start with the big one first if you want to.
Okay.
And I think most of us are thinking of the one we're thinking of the same thing, which is Harry Potter.
Mhm.
I know we're all the same age, around the same age, so that one was like a pretty big young adult film, like turned into a movie from a book or a movie adaptation. So I feel like we should talk about that one first. I enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure you guys enjoyed it.
It was a great series. I mean, like growing up as a child too, it's like it was a good way to be introduced into the young adult fantasy genre where it wasn't overbearing or anything and it was actually just like a story and like
Mhm.
growing up. And it's funny too because you get to like grow up with the characters as well, so like from the first
Ooh,
movie
yeah.
to like the eighth movie you're like really invested into it. So
Yeah. That
True,
franchise,
true.
yeah, it came at a time when like I guess that genre wasn't saturated yet. It was like the first one of its kind for the most part that made it big. And yeah, like growing up with the characters, it was
Yeah.
really great seeing everyone grow up on screen as you grow up and seeing the themes of the movie um
Mm.
get more adult as they get more adult and as we grow with them. So it's pretty interesting uh to see as we grow up. So yeah, that I don't know. That's probably the best one to me, to be honest. But that might be
Yeah,
biased.
totally. Yeah,
wait,
for
so
sure.
wait, so which one's your favorite one?
Dang, I was just gonna ask that.
Oh, dude.
My favorite would be Goblet of Fire. It still is. I haven't watched it in a while, but I think the last time I watched or marathon the whole thing was about like 2 years ago. But Goblet of Fire still gets me, and it's for some reason I think of a very Guam based thing. Like I feel like Hogwarts is the public schools, then like the girls' school is the girls' school on Guam. Then
Yeah.
the boys' school is So I thought that was a pretty interesting to play off of. But I don't know. It has the theme of like the first one of like having different teams and having a different point systems and all that other stuff. So I thought it had that element of the first one.
Mhm.
But like what we're saying, it's more adult and it kind of played off my interest of competition. So I enjoyed Goblet of Fire and what it brought at the end of that movie too. So yeah, I enjoyed that one.
What about you, Kyle? Do you have something?
I gotta go Prisoner of Azkaban.
Dude, there we go. Yeah,
It's
I'm
like
gonna go with
it's
that
hard.
one too.
It's hard not to. Like,
Yeah.
it was like midway through the series, and it was kind of a crucial point where a lot of things were set and kind of defined what transitioned the series from like a young adult into like the next how would I say this?
Like you got more
The
mature.
next chapter. Yeah, the maturity of the series
Mhm.
for the
Mhm.
genre itself. So and plus a lot of things happened. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one too. Actually, I remember that one really resonating with me at the time. It really did. It was a different like the shift in just not in just in tone, but like the way they approached the whole arc of the films. Like there was a big major shift from 2 to 3, and you could because I guess 1 and 2 was directed by the same guy, and then Alfonso Cuarón, like when he popped up and did this one, and he injected his own style of filmmaking into it. It was really unique, and it was really honestly kind of ahead of its time if you really go back and watch it.
Yeah, so that I was gonna bring that up because when I did watch it 2 years ago, I didn't really like two of them, which was Prisoner of Azkaban and Order of the Phoenix. But the points you brought
Ew.
up, watching it again,
Gasp.
it's crazy how like no lie though, like those two, I really understood the story more when you watch it again.
Hmm.
Because I was gonna bring up uh Order of the Phoenix because I didn't like that one as well, but like watching it and the story and what it did, it's crazy. I was like, wow, there's like it went super in depth, and I wasn't even paying attention to it as a kid or just growing up in general because I was already hooked on just the magic, so I wanted to see more magic, but for some reason it felt too much talking or dialogue, and I wasn't paying attention to that. So I would put it up there, like Order of the Phoenix and Prisoner of Azkaban, as good storytelling in the whole series.
Yeah. So on the flip side, what do you think the worst one is?
Mm.
I mean,
Uh,
for me, I'd go with part one of Deathly Hollows. That was the
what?
drag.
No way, dude. I
Part
don't think.
one, it was a drag.
No, dude. I don't know, because I always part one and part two. I consider that one whole movie. To be honest, I mean it's kind of cheating, but to me it is. But I would say honestly, I would say Half Blood Prince. That's the weakest one to me.
Mm.
I can see that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like it felt like if it was a TV
A
show,
filler.
yeah, like a filler for
It
the
was a
most
filler.
part.
Yeah.
Until like the very end, like what the fuck? Like we were just watching like them like hanging around for the most part. Like what the hell is going on here?
Mm.
Yeah.
True, true, true. Yeah, I was gonna go with Kyle's of doing Deathly Hollows Part One.
Damn.
Uh, just
It
because
was.
like I was like it was. I think it's just everyone didn't believe that Voldemort was alive yet until you see that, and I was like, what the hell? Like, why only now? I don't know. It just felt stupid to
It
me.
was
Like,
just.
like that had to happen just in order to them for them to believe that Voldemort is alive and stuff.
Yeah, and I guess it was the hype around being the last chapter of the series, where like, all right, something's about to happen, and then the fact that they had to split it up into two movies, you're just like, okay, like they're building it up to this point, and I mean, which they did in the first part, but it just kind of felt lackluster to where it just didn't signify like the impact of the last movie, you know?
Okay. Have you
Because the
guys?
Mm.
last like Death Part Two was just kind of like, oh, this is where everything's actually happening. Like it was a build up to the story. So
Yeah. Have you guys tried sitting down and like watching both of it at one time?
No, but I feel like if you did, it'll do what you want it to do of
Yeah.
it can being considered one movie. Because
Yeah.
I'm just gonna bring it up. I watched Quiet Place. We're not gonna talk about that, but I'm just saying like
oh,
I watched
we
the first
definitely
one,
can.
but I
Right.
watched the first one, then I watched the second one like the day after, and it kind of had a it had a good flow. Like it picked up right away.
Hmm.
So just bringing that idea, I feel like it would do the same with Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. So maybe I should give it a try, just watching it as an entirety rather than two separate parts. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I would see. I guess I see why, because I do remember when it came out. Like that was literally it for the most part. Like we had to wait another year just to complete the story. It's almost like when Hank finally found out that Walter White was the guy in his toilet, and he was just sitting on that toilet for a fucking year, and then we didn't find out or like the resolution of that thing until the next one. So I do I do get why some of you guys would say it's the worst one on its own merit, but for okay, like you know how they did part 1 and part 2, would you say that
Hmm.
Harry Potter doing that first and doing it the way that they did, would you say that that's the best one so far of them dividing a book into two movies? Because you know how Hunger Games also did it. I'm pretty sure Divergent did it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about that?
I mean, depending on your knowledge of like, I mean, like the movies are definitely different from the books. And granted, if you read, I'm pretty sure I read Deathly Hollows. Like, I actually read the book all the way through before the movies came out,
Yeah.
and then the movies came out. So, I mean, I see, which is why I didn't like the first one. It's because, like, in the books, like, the first part of Deathly Hollows had, like, a lot of more interesting stuff that didn't reflect within the
Mm,
movie that, like, at least with what I've read and what I've caught up to. So, it's highly dependent on the viewer and I guess, like, how you take on and like a big a big series coming to a close and how much impact you want, like what the ending you would like.
right.
So
For me, my take on it, splitting it into two, it kinda is, I would say I would suggest that it should have stayed like that just because you get more story out of it as opposed to putting it in one,
Mhm.
because you gotta remember this is, about a 2 hours and 30 minutes is probably long for people when that movie came out, and I didn't think people wanted to stay that long. I don't know, that's just my opinion.
yeah,
But
imagine watching my Harry Potter for 4 hours.
yeah, see, so I guess that's where I'm coming from. It's like I'm glad they split it up into two, just because you get a better storytelling of the book at least, just to
Mhm.
have, you know, a a more cohesive story. I guess I don't know. That's just my opinion because I feel like if they put it in one, they're gonna rush it. They're gonna rush the story, and we won't get that climax that we wanted or that ending we wanted as people who watched the movie.
Hey
So
man,
I'm okay
I'm
with
down to
it being
watch a
broken up
four
into
hour.
parts.
I'm down to watch
Oh no,
4
I mean
hours.
nowadays, yeah. So
Yeah. No, but
I mean,
business
granted,
wise,
hopefully the first 2 hours isn't just music. So
yeah. 4 hour.
uh
I don't know. It's still
yeah.
it's
So I mean,
still
like aside from Harry
intriguing.
Potter, like what else have you guys like within the young adult genre? I mean, there's Hunger Games, there's Divergent. What else can I think of?
Maze
A lot of
Runner.
these Maze Runner.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I never
Um,
read any of those books apart from I guess yeah, because I was the same as you. I actually read the Deathly Hallows book, but like everything else that we're mentioning, we're just gonna like it's just based on what we watched. Okay, we're not saying the book sucked or like whatever. We're basing it on the franchise of the films that were made.
yeah, we should
So
start a podcast where we just talk about books.
the books, yeah. Dude, I don't know, but from what you honestly from the ones you mentioned, honestly didn't like them as much. Dude, see, we're not even bringing up like Twilight yet, and Twilight is
Oh yeah, I was
in
about
one
Mhm.
of
to
those
say too.
genres. Yeah, so
It's a
I don't know.
iconic staple.
Yeah. So, do you have anything in mind, Aaron, in terms of like what you like in this
I
genre?
guess if I have to bring this up, it's just the young adult genre films. If I can compare it to what we watch to what that's showing right now, it's very different when you think
Mm,
about it, because it's very like the young adult genre now, it's very realistic or real, I guess, in a sense. And but we were kind of exposed to more of the fantasy realm or like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing that's been going on. So I think there's a there's that big difference and gap of kids watching or teens watching those movies now and versus us watching it back then. So for me, I enjoyed that, like our movies compared to the ones that are coming out now for some reason. And
mm,
Yeah,
I'm going back
so
to, yeah, I'm just going back to it being a very fun thriller kind of feel, like action based as opposed to modern realistic. I don't know. That's just my take on the movie genre of young adults
the most
right.
in
recent
general.
like young genre, I guess. I mean, a bunch of like Netflix shorts. I mean, all these rom coms, basically. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think
Yeah.
Yeah.
what the recent ones maybe like To All the Girls I've Loved
Yeah,
and
that one. Yeah, yeah, for the
like
most part.
those series and that kind of genre is kind of like what young adults watch now. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely like what Aaron said. It's definitely different from like what we grew up on, where it's strictly fantasy and a lot of integral parts of like growing up, but not being inside like a real like setting, like based in like live action or like so
Mm-hmm.
not live action, but like within a real like spectrum of like life.
Yeah.
Whereas like
Yeah.
within fantasy, there was a lot to play around with, but you still had like the the important metrics of adulthood and growing up.
Yeah,
So
it still had the coming of age elements, but like wrapped in fantastical elements. I guess for now they have stuff. They only have stuff like I guess they do have some, because I think didn't like what is it called, that Bones one? Something Bones just came, or was that like
oh,
a few years ago already?
yeah, I kind of say that was a few years ago.
Yeah,
The
wasn't it?
Bone
Oh, okay.
series, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah. But like,
Mm.
yeah, for the most part now it's like John Green stuff. Or is it John Green?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like The Fault in the
Yeah,
Stars. Yeah. Oh, wait, I don't think he wrote that, did
I mean
he?
those are still good.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean those are
yeah, he
good,
did.
but it's not. I guess the movies that are getting made now, it's not like the ones that we had in terms of like the young
Mm-hmm.
adult genre of films. Um,
Yeah.
because I even remember like stuff like I Am Number Four. Do you guys even remember that fucking movie? I Am Number
Oh
Four.
my
Yes,
gosh, I am number 4.
Yeah, dude. I
Dude, that's
weirdly wanted
crazy.
a franchise, but they never made it. I guess it never made
I feel like
money.
they just never made it in the movie industry. There's like it's really hard to start like a whole franchise. And
Yeah.
granted, well, aside from like Fast and Furious 9, like we're on the ninth one, so like I wouldn't count it. But there's
Yeah.
not much original
Yeah.
ideas now.
Yeah. Dude,
So
even Fast and
But
Furious
when
wasn't
you
even original,
yeah.
man. That's like a Point Break ripoff in a way, if you think about it, dude.
I
Dude.
mean, you have
Yeah,
like what?
I
There's
see
like
it.
Stranger Things. I mean, that's I guess the most recent one too within that genre. That kind
Or
of
yeah,
was
for
more
like
relevant.
TV.
Yeah, for TV. Yeah, I guess that does count. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see
But
that.
I liked how you jumped up on franchises and like how it kind of cut short with the I am number 4. The one that
Mm-hmm.
got cut short out for me for at least the young adult genre is the Percy Jackson one, because I like those
Oh
films.
yeah.
Percy Jackson was really
Yeah.
good. I don't know if Jan likes it, but I enjoyed Percy Jackson and the whole Greek mythology they played off, and it just kind of cut off after the second one. And I
Yeah,
know
I was a
Disney
big
Plus is
fan
gonna
of
bring that.
I was a big
So
fan of
yeah.
Greek mythology, so
I like the first one. Wasn't like Ned Stark Zeus? Was am I remembering that wrong? I'm gonna fucking look that up. Hold on. Percy Jackson.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
because
while
I don't
Jan does
know.
that, it's just yeah. I feel like Percy Jackson out of the young genre, besides Harry Potter, I would that would be like my second pickup. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Just because, it did have that fantasy element like Harry Potter, but also it played off of my interests of Greek mythology, and yeah, it kind of left it where there's still more story to tell, because the way how it ended was, Zeus's daughter's alive, and how's that gonna play upon, and it
Spoiler,
kind of just like,
man.
yeah, the studio
No,
just
just
straight
kidding.
up left it.
Yeah.
But hey,
at this
it's
point, if you haven't seen it,
Yeah, you don't care. Yeah, honestly, I think I only watched the first one is what I remember. And yeah, so Sean Bean, yes, he was Zeus. Did he die in that one too? I don't
mm,
remember. But
no.
dude, you know what's crazy? The first Percy Jackson is actually directed by Chris Columbus, who also did the first Harry Potter. So maybe that's why there's some
Mm,
the same similar feeling in terms of like the direction of the film. But I remember liking that one too. I remember, I wouldn't say it was big, but I remember people were talking about it in our circles, like they liked that movie.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it really just died, huh?
I just know they're bringing it back for like a TV series. I remember Disney was talking about it, but
Aren't you really?
I guess that's
Oh,
another story for another podcast.
yeah. Oh, they are. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm literally just reading it now. I just see it. That's crazy. Yeah, we'll see if it does good. It does good. You know, another one I liked. I actually read some of the books for this one. I know I said I didn't, but for this one I did. Lemony Snicket, Unfortunate Events.
Mm,
Yeah, that one. Those ones were
oh,
pretty good. The fucking Jim Carrey movie. I always laugh like because it's Jim Carrey, so you can't not like that movie. And I
true.
wish that they continued it, but they didn't. And the series was actually pretty okay. The one with
Yeah,
Neil
the TV
Patrick
series.
Harris, yeah, as
Mm-hmm.
Count Olaf. That one was pretty good. I never finished it, but
Yeah.
it was pretty good from what I've watched.
Yeah, that one was pretty good as well. Like just watching it entirely as a movie, it was interesting to see how these three kids, all different, but they managed to survive a guy that's
Hmm.
trying to kill them. And yeah, jumping off of you watching the TV series, I actually completed it. So
Mm,
yeah, it was a good watch. We got a better insight of where the characters are at the end of their tale, I guess. So
right.
yeah, did you watch it, Kyle?
Mm, I've read the books, but I haven't watched the. I read like a couple of the books back in like elementary, middle school,
Mm.
but I don't remember anything. So
You should check it out. Honestly, it's pretty decent. It's on Netflix, I think. I think it is Netflix.
mm,
Yeah, it's a Netflix original now. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty good. Uh, there's a okay, like out of the successful ones, I know that there's not much. There's a few, and we already mentioned Harry Potter. What do you guys feel about Twilight in general? I guess it's that whole series of films. What do you guys think
it
about
was a
that?
it, it was a phase
It was a phase.
for everyone, whether you liked it or you hated it. It was a phase.
Yeah.
So it kind of I mean that series really it created like a scene, and
Mm.
it was really big. So it was either like you hate it, you loved it, complained about it, this and that. Read the books, this and that. Like what else were you gonna do when it came out? When did it come out?
Dude, I think the
Like
last one,
2008?
the first one was
No, the
2008.
first one was 2008, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
within
yeah.
like
Mm.
within at 4 years after that or so.
Mhm.
It was crazy when it came out, and like the way how you say it was bringing up a phase and stuff. I never bought into it. I was like, this is stupid. Like a werewolf and a vampire, like, and a girl like
Yeah.
fighting over love. I'm like, nah, I'm not buying into this. I think I watched the first one, but
Well,
this is like long after the actual movie or after the series finished. So
Mm.
I
it
know,
was
but
kind
like
of
during
like,
the same time, it was like Twilight happened, and then like all these shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Teen Wolf, like that whole genre of
It blew
like
up.
mm,
mystical creatures and like all that stuff was just kind of within that scene.
yeah, I think culturally, I agree with you. Culturally, I agree with you that it did pop off and stuff because I remember uh our theater friends at they kept saying like every show would be sold out, like the last one, or just even the first, when it first came out, there was like lines and lines and lines. And luckily I wasn't there to experience it, but it's just weird, it's just crazy how big it popped off.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I like the first one. It was fine. Second one was fine, but I guess I kind of like it was like how it was a cool thing then not like something everyone likes. I was like, I don't want to
It was
watch
just
this
something to
crap.
talk about.
Yeah, it was fine. It's not a thing for me, but it has its audience, and I don't want to talk down on the stuff just because I don't like it, I guess. But it had its
Mm.
audience, so I'll give it that. Is there anything else that we should talk about? Ooh, okay. So Ready Player One actually kind of counts, I would say.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so
dude, that
Aaron,
one is, that's my favorite.
yeah, see, Aaron really liked that film. Like when we were talking about the adventure films, was it adventure films? I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, somewhere there.
he named that his favorite. Like, what do you think about Ready Player One, Kyle?
I liked it. It was a really like it was really fun to watch. So I mean, in terms of like um, story was kind of like okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was like nice theatrics and just incorporating like a bunch of things from our childhood, and it was just kind of it was a movie that like either hits you or it doesn't,
Hmm.
and with what you experience, and that's why I guess Aaron likes it a lot. There was a lot of nuances and novelties within the film that kind of like put a smile to your face while you're watching it,
Yeah.
and at the same time, it was still pretty progressive and like has this story that you can still follow without just throwing you comics and characters that you once knew.
Right.
Mm,
So
true,
Aaron,
true.
why would you name that like as your favorite I guess like when we were talking about it, you named it your favorite adventure film. What makes that your top film?
I know there's a lot of big other big movies at top above that, but I think that was the first thing that came to my head just because uh I don't it had Steven Spielberg directing it, so you know what you're gonna get when he
Yeah.
directs it, and playing off of what Kyle said of it having that nostalgia factor, kind of drew me in as well, and it being a scavenger hunt, like a very very game reference, Easter eggs and all that stuff, and we've gone that route in all our video games of like finding an Easter egg or doing those things, and I just thought how they approached it and how the time we are at where virtual reality is kind of a thing now. It's crazy how in the near future that this world can actually exist. So I thought it was pretty cool. And beyond that, I actually read the book after the movie, and the book is like crazier because for some reason when you watch the film, it felt like they solved it in it felt like 2 weeks for some reason. Like they solved the three riddles in like three impossible riddles done in 2 weeks. That's crazy. But when you read the story, spoiler for those that haven't read it, it's just like it takes them about like a year or two to actually get those three challenges out of the way, and it's harder than the ones that was present in the movie. So this one is actually the first movie that I've seen. I've done both. I read the book and watched the movie, and I can really compare the two. And it's crazy how um the movie kind of changes like after the book is made and stuff. Uh, but yeah, that's just my spiel of uh Ready Player One, and like yeah, it just brought a lot of good adventure esque in it when you're watching it. So that was just my first initial reaction, and I had to put it out there that it was a good film. But yeah,
Do you guys think like it would have been better separated into like a couple more movies, or do you think it was fine the way that it was? Because I do know it did feel a little rushed to me, like in some aspects of the movie. I guess like the way you're saying it is like the book was more in depth. I mean, like you can't obviously translate it page to page, but yeah, you think it would have translated better, had a better flow if it was like separated into two movies? Because it's kind of like the opposite of The Hobbit to me. I felt like The Hobbit could have just been one or two movies, but they really
mm,
stretched it out into like three. And say what you want about it. I mean, if you like it or not. For me, it was okay. It was fine. It wasn't Lord of the Rings. But this one, do you think it would have done better if it was like more than one movie?
It would have definitely benefited off of a second movie. I feel like 100% it would have benefited just to add a little bit more and kind of stretch out the story and add more things. So I definitely think it would benefited it from a second movie.
I think my opinion is the other way of how like the way how you said The Hobbit, and that's a good example of it stretching the story because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it would do that part. Um, like I guess if you did it in three parts or three movies, you would do each task for one movie, but I just feel like it would have dragged in that sense. Uh, but yeah, that's just my opinion
But
of
there
it.
was like
It being
there was some parts in the movie where like some of the task like ran faster than the others, and
yeah.
I don't know if that was reflective off of like how how it was in the books, because I think the first task was pretty fast, and then doing the uh second task was in the castle, I think.
Mm.
It's been a
Uh,
while, but yeah, there was some
yeah.
like in the middle of the movie, it felt there was a part where it was rushed, where like they had to like like rush it because the ending they had to do this big ending, which took like
Mm-hmm.
another like a whole 20 minutes to explain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I guess to answer that, in my opinion, it's just stretching it uh would kind of like make the movie drag along because it's a lot of character development for the main guy. So
Yeah.
the main guy actually like in the
That's
time
Cal's favorite
he
word, by
did
the
the
way.
first, yeah, the
Whoa,
time
whoa,
he
whoa,
did the
I
first.
haven't used that word at all in this episode. How dare you?
Yeah, but the time he actually did the first challenge, there's a lot of thing going, like, it kind of jumped on him having fame and stuff in that virtual world in the Oasis and stuff. But it's crazy because that kind of affected him in the real world in a sense,
Mhm.
because he got all those different sponsorships and all that stuff. So he became like a superstar, and in the book you see him go through those trials and tribulations of becoming a actual star. Like he literally gained weight in the movie, or in the movie. So I was like, so I think people wouldn't want to see that part. They just want to see the solving of the clues in a sense, or the solving of the Easter eggs. So I think studio wise they wanted to go that direction rather than let's let's for let's extend the movie by telling the actual full story. And the challenges, for some reason, they weren't as exciting as the one in the movies. So I feel there's like a lot of components that kind of contributed why they went that direction and didn't extend to like a 2 parts or 3 parts. But yeah, so I see
I
where they're
see.
coming from.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Speaking of, I just remembered. I guess I would consider this probably in the genre, but my personal, if not top five for me, uh, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It was
E-
a great young adult movie. So, if not one of, it's a great movie.
Yeah, that one's a good
So,
movie too.
I'd say it's really fun to watch, and it's along the lines of, I mean, it wasn't really much of a story, but
Yeah, I don't know.
it was very quirky, and for like a kid, like growing up in your teens, just like seeing that, you're just like, wow, that looks just really fun.
Mhm. I don't know
And
if that count. Does that, because was it
I don't know.
a book, or I think it was a graphic
I
novel,
kind of
was it
want to say
not?
it was a graphic novel, and then it
Yeah,
just got
yeah.
converted into a movie, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, no, but that one's pretty
So
good too. I like that one a lot. I think I watched that on my birthday. I remember watching that on my birthday, and yeah, so that one was pretty good.
it's one of those movies where you just like put it up in the back and everyone knows it, and
Mhm.
it's highly rewatchable.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely.
So
You know how I started watching it? It was literally our Cinco de Mayo event. I was like, that
yeah,
I think it was your class, both of you. Like you guys were doing that movie, if you
yeah.
remember.
It was my group. It was my group.
No, no, that
Yeah, I was
was you
like,
guys. I was not in that one,
oh,
dude.
okay. But I
Yeah,
remember watching you guys do that. I was like, what the hell kind of movie is this? I've never seen this movie, but it looks fun. And like you guys did it, and I was like, dude, I gotta watch this movie. So I did watch the
Yeah, it
movie,
was like
and it, yeah, it had
it
a
made sense.
like dope experience. Yeah, so I enjoyed
I
it.
forgot about that. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
we had to make a play out of, like, we had to pick a movie and make a play
a
out of
play
it,
out in
but we had to do it
In
Spanish.
entirely in
Spanish.
Spanish. Yeah, in Spanish. So
Yeah,
we had to we had to get all the seven X's and just do little segments, and like it was the easiest thing to do,
that's
and it was
funny.
fun. It was fun.
Wait,
So
I think I had a class with you, and didn't we do something? Which one did we do? Do you remember?
I think
one
we
of y'all did
did. It
Finding Nemo
was
or something.
no.
Finding
I
Nemo?
think we
No, I
did
don't think
like
it was.
Despicable Me.
Yeah, there we go. Fucking hell. I think you were like
Uh, sh-
Gru or something, and I was like a
shout outs,
I'm a bad actor,
shout
by
outs
the
to
way.
Alex Pasquale for Scott Pilgrim
Big
versus the
Scott
World
Pilgrim.
for Spanish class. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, well he was, huh? I didn't even realize.
yeah, he was Scott. Pretty sure he was Scott.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think Aaron was our lead. I remember that because I was just a measly minion. I didn't have the star power to to carry that whole play. So moving on. Do you guys have anything else that you could think of in that genre? I know we already brought up Harry Potter. Uh,
There is Narnia.
Oh yeah,
oh my
Narnia.
God,
Forgot
Narnia.
about that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
The traveling wardrobe or whatever wardrobe thing.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Wardrobe. I think I only watched the first one. I never really watched anything else past that point.
Speaking, what do you call it? Golden Compass. No, that's a part of the. Is that part of
Mm,
the series
I
or is
guess
that a different?
that's a different one.
no, that's a
That's
different.
not a. I
It's a
don't think
different one. Okay, okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah.
that's not
So, but
Narnia.
same but different.
Same but different.
Yeah, but I guess yeah, Narnia was also like one of those adventure things because it's like, oh, you're a little kid and like go into this wardrobe
Hmm.
and go into this fantasy and talk to a lion. And the first one I'd like to say was pretty good, but like all the succeeding ones after that were kind of like meh.
Yeah.
And like the build up for the story of like that. Well, that's the thing about like fantasy too is like it's kind of hard to build a solid foundation for to set up like this plot. I mean, in hindsight, you could, but there's a lot of intricacies with fantasy of like you can twist a lot of things,
Hmm.
and if you do it in a weird way, it just kind of sometimes it doesn't connect with people. So at
Mm,
least for me, that's what I've kind of thought of Narnia, and the same thing with like Golden Compass. It kind of had that adventure adventure fantasy type, and like I just wasn't really connected to the story to be like, oh wow,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think yeah, for me the only one I watched was the first one, and you know how I remember that that's the only one we watched, because I think there's a character named Mr. Tumnus, right, played by James McAvoy.
mm,
If you guys don't
yep.
Mm-hmm.
remember, so till this day, my mom, every time James McAvoy would be in a movie, she'll refer to him as Mr. Tumnus. Like that's the only way she'll refer to him. Like, hey, it's Mr. Tumnus. I'm like, Mom, he's played Professor X to this point. You can't call him Mr.
Nope,
Tumnus
nope.
still. You know what I mean?
It's his best role.
Yeah, but you know,
Dang,
like, yeah, it's
he
just
had
it's the
Turkish
only thing I
delights.
remember. Turkish Delight. Yeah. But yeah, I like the first one. I remember liking the first one, but the other ones were, uh, yeah. See, I don't think I even watched the other ones. Yeah, so I don't know. What about you, Aaron?
I'm on the same page as both of you. Like I watched all three of them, but it was meh, like
Mm-hmm.
what Kyle said. And yeah, and as did you. Like I enjoyed the first one more than the other two, just because it had that adventure feel. But other than that, it wasn't something that I would latch onto. So it's one of those
Mm-hmm.
forgettable young adult movies, in my opinion. When we do compare
Yeah.
it to like Harry Potter and stuff, and all those other ones we said about.
So I guess I have I guess moving on to like another segment of the young genre. Like, do you want to kind of go back to like some of the older like young adult genres? First thing that comes to mind is like the Breakfast Club kind of genre.
Mm.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
like the
Mm,
coming of
So you have like
age kind of. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So like you can kind of subdivide the genre into be like, hey, there's this like fantasy aspect, and then also it's like I guess what it is now too is kind of like relating the coming up of, and I mean, Breakfast Club's like a um, classic movies to that.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
What else I can think of? Holes.
Okay, yeah.
You guys remember
Holes
Holes?
would
Yeah,
count. Yeah, that one's
yeah, yeah.
the crazy thing
Like
about
something.
Holes was I think the writer of the book was also the one that wrote the screenplay, and usually like I've never seen that translate super good into a movie, but it did because like you know J.K. Rowling, say what you want about like her books, her Fantastic Beasts script, because
Mhm.
I guess she wrote those. They're not as great. Uh, Probably because she's suited more to like books and stuff. But Holes was one of those really like rare instances where it worked out um
Yeah.
mm,
really
Same
good.
thing with like Perks. Perks of Being a Wallflower. That's another one.
mm.
Oh
Wow,
yeah,
yeah,
see, I
those
think
are all good ones.
yeah, the same thing, right? The author did the
Hmm.
yeah okay yeah. So that one was pretty. That one was good too.
Yeah. So like those are pretty within the genre. Like those, I guess, are kind of like a staple too,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. Uh, just because I mean they were pretty good movies by themselves, and it didn't need it didn't need more, didn't need less.
Mm-hmm.
I think like when you bring up perks, when you bring up perks, it doesn't draw me as much. And I think it's just a dialogue. I guess I just don't understand it when there's not a lot of action happening and it's very heavy on the dialogue. So I feel like that kind of category fits with the new kind of young adult films, like again To All the Boys and other stuff. It fits in that area, and it just doesn't hit well with me. Like I remember the
Mhm.
dialogue, I know the importance, but it's just like I wasn't as invested in those films. Um, I guess if you want to think of 500 Days of Summer, is that a coming up or young adult? No,
No, I
Hmm.
don't. I don't. I don't think
No,
so.
it.
no.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't think it
but
I
would
mean, it's
fit.
I
two
guess
sides.
yeah.
It's two sides of the same coin for the genre. I mean, it's a you can kind of label it however you want, and depending on what you think a
Hmm.
young
Mm,
adult movie is, whether
okay,
it be full adventure, full action, for fantasy, or something of coming up, um, kind of take
but
that
yeah, that's
for what it
but
is.
yeah, that's just my opinion on Perks. It wasn't something I watched it, but it wasn't something I was thrilled about or gained something from it. I don't know. It, that's just
Yeah.
my opinion.
I don't. Did we talk about the Hunger Games yet? Because I know that's one of the
No,
No,
other
we didn't.
bigger ones that actually.
I don't. I didn't really like it, so I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
It
same.
was okay.
It's
The first one
fine.
was okay, but then like after each book, and then each book had like two parts, and it's like, oh man,
Mm,
I think
yeah.
I only liked. It might have been Catching Fire. That might have been the only one I liked. But apart
mm,
from that,
the
it was
second one.
it was fine to me. It was whatever. Yeah, see, it's really hard
Okay.
to create a franchise, or like to me, to create a franchise off stuff that I don't like, because yeah, it doesn't really resonate with me. But I guess it does have its audience still. So yeah.
Uh, yeah, I like the concept of having teens fight for their district and whatnot. That was pretty cool. But I think when the third part came out and it was like all propaganda, but part one came out, too much propaganda and stuff. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. But yeah, it kind of like died down when you keep watching the film. It wasn't an interest later on. But it kind of poses a question. Uh, Out of the ones we've already said, and we can't say Harry Potter. Like we know Harry Potter's up there, like our top. What would you watch next? What would you watch next after Harry Potter, or like out of the ones we've said already?
Hmm.
If I were to recommend something, you mean like the
Yeah, other than Harry Potter
uh,
in that
Like a
genre.
series or just a movie? Like a series, like another series to watch, or
So out of the movies we've been saying, so like we said Hunger Games, we
Mhm.
said Ready Player One, we said what Percy Jackson, we said what The Golden Compass, Narnia, all those other things we said. What is the next
Mhm.
movie you would recommend in this young adult genre to another person that is, and you can't say Harry Potter. So what's the other recommendation you would give them? Because like right now we're saying it's very meh to like most of these things, but what would you recommend
yeah.
the next one besides Harry Potter?
I love how we talked about Harry Potter, but we barely talked about like how good Harry Potter is. We just talked about because it's Harry
Yeah,
Potter.
because it's Harry
Uh,
Potter. It's kind of
yeah, because
implied.
it's it.
I don't to us at
And
least. Yeah, that it's like the best one.
can you imagine people? There's some people that probably haven't watched it
Yeah, I'm jealous.
and are
Mm.
like, they're like in their 20s or something, and they just like, "What's Harry Potter?" You're like,
I know.
really?
I'd be jealous of those people.
But to answer Aaron's question, I mean, I don't know. Uh,
None of them. I was
I mean,
kidding. I don't
I'd
know.
say
I don't know.
I'd say Scott Pilgrim just cause. I'd say Scott Pilgrim just cause. Um,
Mm.
but in terms
um,
of a series, I can't. It's not like, I mean, Harry Potter is like one of the greater series that has came out to film,
mhm.
and it's really hard to kind of go after that. So
Mm.
Um, dude, I honestly don't have an idea. Spiderwick Chronicles. No, I was kidding. I don't know. I really don't know. Um, yeah, I have. I'm gonna say nothing. Move
does
on.
Back to the
Mm.
Future count?
Move
Does
on.
Back to the Future count?
I don't know if that counts. See, that's the thing, because it was never
Mm.
adapted from any kind of source
Yeah.
material. So, in terms of like
I
this
guess.
genre, Yeah, I don't think that counts to me.
Well,
But
granted, none of us. I mean, I'm not a book reader, so I don't know what's out there.
yeah, same. So yeah, like I said, we never like we're just basing these off the films, so we're not really uh referring to any of the books in terms of its quality. So yeah, I'll say
Mm.
nothing.
I mean, thanks for your honesty.
Just saying. I don't know.
I'd recommend a different genre.
I'd recommend venturing out into something else. Watch The Notebook or something, because
Oh, you wanna get into young
the
romance?
Nicholas Sparks books. I don't know. I don't know if that counts, but
I think that can be another podcast.
That's its own genre.
Yeah.
that's its
Yeah,
own genre.
that's another episode.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that'll be it for today's episode. We didn't really touch up on all of the franchises from this genre, but yeah, those are what we think. Any other thoughts, guys?
If you missed something, if we missed a movie that you thought was in it, just tweet at us.
Yeah, just tweet at us and yeah.
We'll give you a shout out in the next episode.
With that said, thank you for listening to Spit Talk Podcast. Catch us on our next episode. Follow us on Twitter at Spit Talk Podcast for any updates. Once again, we are Aaron, Jan, and Kyle. See you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.